and gentlemen, on behalf of the National CSR Network, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you to the ESG Conclave 2025 on the theme From Compliance to Sustainability. We are delighted to have an eminent gathering of leaders from government, industry, academia, and civil society here with us today to share insights, exchange ideas, and collectively reimagine the role of ESG and CSR in shaping India's future. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors whose support has made this conclave possible. I would now like to invite Mr. Mohit Gandhi, convener, National CSR Network, to give an introduction about National CSR Network.
Thank you, Muskan. On my personal behalf, a very warm welcome to all the distinguished guests, the distinguished panelists who have taken out time to be here with us. Till yesterday evening, we had, we were receiving responses from participants they wanted to attend this program. And in fact, really, we had to close this thing. So I think some of the people would be on the way. But we'll start on time so that we can maintain the time decorum and this thing. So for the benefit of those who don't know National CSR Network, it's a Section 8 company. It was set up in the year 2015. Our founder chairman, Mr.Dwarakanath, is here. Mr. Deepak Barara, who is one of the founding members of CSR Network, is also here. Mr. Naveen Bhatia is as well over here. So the whole idea of this association get together, having some kind of an association for CSR was after the new law which had come in 2013. And after 2013, there was a lot of, I would say, a lot of interest, a lot of enthusiasm amongst companies, amongst professionals, because suddenly we had more than 14,000 companies under the realm of CSR who had to do it mandatory, who had to invest in the area of CSR. And we thought we should not, have a situation where just ticking the box. Can we encourage them to have meaningful social development? So, the companies, the PSUs, we have the head honchos from the PSUs over here. CSR as such was not for, PSUs, for large organizations who were already doing this law. Sorry, this law was not for organizations who were already doing CSR, but for organizations who were making profits and who were trying to see how they can become a part of the civil society. So that was the whole idea of having this association. So we had we start. नहीं हो रहा स्लाइड शो नहीं है स्लाइड नहीं है पीडीएफ डाल देंगे चलो जो भी है खुलो करके आपने किया तुम लोगों को कहाँ स्क्रीन का Sorry, no matter how much we do with the technology, it always begins like this. फुल स्क्रीन कर दो फुल स्क्रीन कर दो इसको फुल स्क्रीन का तो ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा सर So we were set up with a vision to, as I mentioned, to empower corporations for meaningful social development. And our theme over the years has been how we can help companies optimize social return on investment. Because when we use the word ROI, the doors to the boardroom opens. Therefore, if we can measure what we are doing and justify that and display that, it has all different connotations. I remember 10 years back, we were talking about how HR becomes a strategic partner of business. Now we are really looking at CSR becoming strategic partner of business. Therefore, having ESG in the realm of it, so that ESG can provide a framework for measurement, for effectiveness, and how we can, optimize the resources. So we were set up with a AAA approach, advisory, alliance, amplification of work. We always thought it's very important for corporates, the newer corporates in CSR, to get motivated to learn from the larger corporates, to learn from corporates who are already doing CSR, not as a law, but as a choice. So we always had companies like Tata's, Birla's, and PSUs doing CSR before the law as well. But it's very important to amplify their work, amplify the best practices, so that we can, motivate and have across India those kind of impacts which is happening in the area of CSR. So this is the 6 steps to CSR success, what we have done. We are present in all these 6 steps. And for us, the most important step is the capacity building. Because if we educate enough people, we'll have a world-class system where we can have a framework for effective CSR. I would request people who are not part of CSR network to join us to strengthen this network, because we are really, our theme, of course, mission and vision I mentioned, but our core value is values create value. So this is the underlying theme which we operate on. We have now robust online portal, and as always, this is work in progress. And we have now best practices, we have capacity building. Whatever programs we are doing, we are putting those modules on this interactive platform as well. This is a monthly newsletter which we bring out. So Mrs. Meena Raghunathan, who's the honorary editor for this newsletter, she takes a lot of pain. She's in fact, after having her on board to become the editor, we got so much this thing that she's a legend in this CSR space. She was one of the founding executive director for GMR Varalakshmi Foundation, and she takes a lot of pain to bring out these newsletters. So we'll definitely, you can have a look at it on our website, or we can send it to you on email as well. As I mentioned, capacity building. Today, Mr. Srinivas was unable to come. He's a mentor to us. He's currently the secretary of Mahua, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And so we have people at the top like Mr. Dr. Rajiv Kumar, who was till recently the vice chairman of Niti Aayog. He is our patron to National CSR Network. So in a short span of, capacity building focus we brought the focus in the last 1.5 years. And in a short span of time, I would say we have been able to touch upon a lot of corporates in a meaningful way. These are some of the companies whom we interact with, whom we engage with. And being a neutral body, we get a lot of projects for impact assessments, and right from in the villages, in the area of skill development, in the area of healthcare management, in the area of environment. So as I mentioned, National CSR Network is a Section 8 company. So at the top, there is an advisory council. Mr. Dwarakanath is chairing that advisory council, and which is the apex body where we go for advice, guidance, insights. We have core groups. We work in verticals like environment, skill development through these core groups, and feet on the ground. These are more than our full-time staff who are working with CSR network. These are our feet on the ground. These are people who are working with the National CSR network very passionately. So without further ado, I would now request Muskan to start the session. Thank you.
So let us now begin our inaugural session. May I first invite Mr. P. Dwarakanath, Chairman, Advisory Council, National CSR Network, and former Chairman, GSK-CH India, to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Dwarakanath brings a rich and varied experience of 5 decades in engineering, chemicals, pharma, consumer goods, healthcare, and insurance sectors. Okay, so Mr. Dwarakanath has been humble enough to stop me. May I now invite Mr. Praveen Karn is yet to join us. I think we'll continue without him. Next we have with us Dr. K.K. Pandey, Professor and Dean, Office of Doctoral Studies, OP Jindal Global University, to deliver our academic address for today. Dr. Pandey is a leading academic in statistics, sustainability and policy research with a Ph.D. in statistics and executive credentials from XLRI and IIMs. He has published over 50 papers on net zero, circular economy, and renewable energy. He has also guided several PhD scholars and led international research collaborations, including projects with Sheffield Hallam University. I now invite Mr. Kumar Dubey, Director HR, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. Mr. Dubey also holds the position of Director Marketing at BPCL and is the Chairman on the board of Indraprastha Gas Limited. He brings over 37 years of leadership in India's energy sector. An alumnus of NIT Allahabad, he earlier held senior roles at Indian Oil Corporation, leading transformation across 400 plus operational sites and 7,500 employees. At BPCL, he has introduced forward-looking initiatives in talent development, employee wellness, and organizational strategy. May I now invite Mr. Ayush Gupta, Director, HR, GAIL India Limited. Mr. Gupta has over 3 decades of leadership in the energy sector. An IIT Roorkee alumnus and Chevening Rolls-Royce Fellow, he has championed HR transformation, policy advocacy, and inclusive organizational culture. Recognized among India's top 50 HR thought leaders and named HR Leader of the Year 2024, he brings deep insights on aligning people, purpose, and policy with sustainability in business. It is my privilege to now invite Mr. Prabhakar Kumar, IRS, Additional Commissioner, Directorate of Logistics, CBIC, Department of Revenue, Government of India. With over 19 years of service in the Government of India, Mr. Kumar has worked across audit customs, customs preventive, and GST, handling both enforcement and key administrative functions. He has led major initiatives in anti-smuggling, compliance, and service quality improvement, earning multiple commendations and awards for his contributions. His extensive experience in enforcement and administration makes him a value voice on governance and regulatory effectiveness. Lastly, I would want to invite Mr. Naveen Bhatia, CEO, Navkar Skills. Mr. Bhatia brings over 36 years of experience in corporate training, skill development, and CSR. He has contributed to landmark initiatives such as the India Skills Policy, the IRDA 100-hour training curriculum, and the creation of a skills university. He has held leadership roles at NIIT, Reliance Learning, and Bharati Learning, and has mentored over 2,000 certified corporate trainers. A founding member of the National CSR Network, Mr. Bhatia continues to play a pivotal role in advancing skills and CSR in India. May I now invite Mr. P. Dwarakanath to deliver the welcome address.
Distinguished guests on the dais and dear delegates, good morning to all of you. Welcome to the CSR Network. Before I say a few words, I'm here to listen to other distinguished guests here. But I just want to say a few comments. Mr. Mohit Gandhi, who is the driving force behind this CSR network, some of us like us are more ceremonial, I have to be honest. But I think I want to acknowledge and applaud his contribution. I would like you to request you give a hand. He is always very silent, like a true social worker for the good of the country or for the social good. He never comes out in the front, but I have to say that he has done a tremendous job in this, despite many adverse situations he has to face, including COVID. When he started in 15-16, within 3 years we had this problem. But I think today we could see many of the distinguished people here. It's only because of him. I am not the authority to talk on this subject, but I would like to say one thing. I really compliment the organizing committee for designing the theme of this conference, which is compliance to sustainability. For last 4 days, I was teaching a subject in XLRI Jamshedpur that is on corporate governance and board management. And the importance of that focus is what the academia, as a distinguished academician is sitting here, is not just for the general management people, even for the HR guys. They said it's very important that you need to understand what is happening on the field of ESG. I never heard in my career earlier what is the impact of global warming, what is rare earths. I mean, even talking about DEI and B, it started later. But I think today's world, it is not a fancy terms to have. It is need to have. I think I'm glad that many of the academic, unless you start from the school, starts from the young age, you would not be able to understand, now you say don't fire crackers on Diwali. There is a sort of social awareness has been brought in through the influence of the schools, apart from regulatory constraints that always can be, seen how to breach them in a smart way. But I think it's foundation which is important, and it's not only should end there, it should move. Today, you see, I was talking to one of the distinguished guests. He said, I'm an expert on circular economy. I know very basics. I have no clue. But I think it's important today. I think you come from any function. I think it's not something you have to see there is an ESG specialist. I mean, everybody should have a lot of awareness what's happening. Someone can focus more on this. So from that perspective, I think there is a relevance to it. I know the theme of the title, which I want to focus a little bit before I would seek the distinguished guest here to speak. It is no longer a compliance, okay? It's much beyond compliance. And number two, it is, something we need to have end in mind. What is end in mind? Sustainability. You don't talk about your organization for today. Talk about your organization. People talk about it even 20 years or 40 years back. I think, here, people make a very important contribution. There's no doubt on this. But unless you are aware what is happening around in the ecosystem, it's very important. I think I have been told about many years ago in GSK, if you want to be a good leader, you need to have an outside-in view. It is not just outside, you know about your process, systems, your practices, but you may not be knowing exactly what was happening, and many functions could get away. It's not just a corporate, but today's world, you are a businessman, you are a corporate professional, you are an academician, you are a politician, you should be aware what's happening around. They coined a word, acronym, still I use it, where said, embrace prest, P-R-E-S-T. That was being told for me 30 years back. What is it? Aware of the political situations, for example, tariff, many other things. Then aware of the regulatory constraints. Some of them you expect, some of them you not expect. Whether court rulings or some decisions taken at economy bodies at international level. Then talk about the economy. Any change in the imposition, foreign exchange, regulation, so on and so forth. And next is social. which we didn't bother for many years, social. Now this has become the need of the hour. This is where the ESG, the S is playing a very important role. Social is not just diversity, gender diversity is much beyond this. And then last was technology. But the one which has been added, it was pressed. Today you're talking about priest. The one which has been added is environmental. I think, we never bothered about it as becoming. So, on the whole, without diverting into any details, what I would like to submit is, now we are talking, it is, today you may say it's a nice word, but it's the need of the hour. It is not just ticking the box. It is not just to show a PR initiative. We do it. I mean, in India, listed companies, 1,000 listed companies have to give business sustainability report. But good governance is something, you are not compelled to do it. You are doing it on your own. This is where the CSR has started, as Mr. Gandhi said earlier. Some of the very philanthropic companies like Tata's, Birlas, and many others in private sector and most of the public sectors have done a human service to the society for a public good without these restrictions or impositions on the company sector have come. But now we need to take to the second stage. I think one of the aspects, CSR is not ESG, but is complementary. I think, this is where I'm saying, I think if your fundamentals are very clear, I think there's enough opportunity, especially a country like India. It focuses not only on today, but it focuses first tomorrow. And secondly, this is what is the 4 Ps you can call, whether it's a planet, people, purpose, and performance. I mean, profits are outcomes, but I'm not saying you should not earn profits, but doing sustainable initiatives, you can earn profits. But it should end with profits, not with profiteering. So this is where the social good will come into play. So this is my top line. I think, again, without getting into details, it's important, while I warmly welcome all of you and the distinguished guests on the dais and for sparing their time and coming despite their heavy schedules, and to participate in an initiative which is, I think, is not only good for the corporates or industry or the business, but also for the public at large, and it's a social good in the interest of the country as well as for the globe. So these are my top line. Last, while I'm concluding, I want to say change is constant, change is dynamic. It is the change in the mindset, tone at the top. If walk the talk, lead by example, then everything else will follow. So there are 4 kinds, ladies and gentlemen: people who watch things happening, people who do not know what's happening, people to whom things happen. And distinguished minority people like you are those who makes things happen. I think sustainability through ESG or otherwise can happen, provided you make things happen. Wish you all the best. I wish we'll have a great session. Thank you. Now I have a pleasant duty to perform. We have Dr. K.K. Pandey, who will is a professor and dean of doctoral studies. I think we split these sessions. Academic session is one, and then you have a theme address by Dr. Rajkumar Dubey ji, and special address by Ayush Gupta ji, and then there will be another keynote address by Ms. Prabhakar Kumar ji. So this is how we split. Now can I request Professor Dr. K.K. Pandey ji to deliver his address? Thank you.
Very good morning to all of you. You might be thinking that an academician, how he is going to start. And probably he'll be talking theory, probably he'll talking the applications not much, because there are practitioners here sitting, those who are actually practicing those things. So what theory and how theory, because there's a map somewhere in the back in the mind that what we do in academia that has far, far, far away from it is being practiced. And that's why, what happened? What happened? When people got trained from academia, and then when you hire, again you have to train them for many years. I think that showcased that how academia and industry need to be aligned. I was hearing Dwarakanath ji. I think that I am lucky that I can hear you, sir, with immense of your knowledge. No, now if you want to, no, if I want to say something, I'll say, there's a very nice say in Hindi that is like this. सब जो कहते हैं सुनने की कोशिश में हूँ. I am trying to hear whatever is being said by all of individuals, intellectuals. सब जो कहते हैं सुनने की कोशिश में हूँ, अब मैं चुपचाप रहने की कोशिश में हूँ. सब कहा जा चुका कुछ न कहने को है, बस इसी गम को कहने की कोशिश में हूँ. So whatever it is being encrypts what is ESG, what is CSR, what is the role, responsibility, he has summarized very nicely in hardly few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, but he has summarized that roles and responsibility. I would like to start from the point where he has started. He used a word that this is not a pure benefit. This is not pure profit. There's a movie, Spider-Man, and there's a dialogue in the movie. What comes with responsibility? Wonderful. So it means when you are at that position, when you are in industry, then definitely you are also having some sort of responsibility towards the society. In our mythology, in our philosophical way, when we celebrate Deepavali, what we do right? What are the 2 things we write on the gate? Huh? Shubh Labh. You don't write Labh only. Why? Why? Why you write this? Sustainability start from here, sir. This is what the sustainability. This term coined must be coined recently, but this is in our veins. This is not being given by external outside word. This is our system, our values. We don't believe in love without shubh. What does it mean? I try to write it down for all of you. Now, there are the profit associated. If you are earning a profit, if you are earning something by harming an individual or society or nature, our system say, no, this is not the right thing. That's why we always write Shubh Labh. Further, if you want to read it out, I'll leave this PPT for all of you. I have just tried to thought, and what I found that with philosophical way, the way we can think, that our scriptures, our system, our values, it initiates us from the very first day that we don't believe in only profit, but we believe in the profit which is actually providing benefit to all. Now, who are these all? Is it only individual? Is it only society? No. It covers everything. It covers everything. When people were not talking about the environment, then that time we are having environment, we are giving weight to the environment by different customs. We do puja of some trees. And there is a logic, there is a reason. I'll not go in detail about that because I have to discuss something else here. But there are 3 things which we are trying to talk it out. First, CSR, corporate social responsibility. Everybody is talking now in these days ESG. Everybody, in any form. After that was 17 goal of UN came, was bombarded. Everybody and everywhere. So few people go beyond that. They says no, we will go for net zero economy, circular economy, and then somebody said now net zero economy. What is actually net zero economy? How it can be achieved? We are talking about this process and system. Have you ever thought that what type of situation the developed nations are following? When you go in those developed nations, and very simple mathematics and statistics, you can do it out. On an average per capita energy consumption of a person who lives in the US, in comparison to India, the data is there. We are actually following it. We are actually following it. That is more than 1200 or 1600. We hardly use 200. So we are trying our best. We are trying our best. Our system and values are there. Since we have not focused on manufacturing when there was a drive came, we choose the service sector that time. And some of them, they choose the manufacturing. Yes, manufacturing has its own words. But now this is the time when we have to evolve. So development, sustainable development, but on what cost? That we have to understand. What type of future we are going to leave for our young generations? What type of situations we are going to create for them? And that's why the word CSR along with the ESG, and when you say ESG is actually the first term in ESG is the environment. That is your environment. The second term is social. Look, the social of ESG and the social of CSR, it is not different. Please understand. You can align, we should align the CSR along with the ESG. Yes, I'm not telling you that both are same, they are different, but they have also similarity. So how they can complement each other, that need to be understood, and that is a role of academia. That is a role of academia. So we can't say that academia doesn't play any role, but academia, this is what the moral, ethical responsibility of academia to make a bridge between these all things. When we say ESG, I'll further discuss, I'll try it, I'll not take a lot of time on PowerPoint presentation, but I will be showing you this. I thought these three terms. So I was talking sustainability, ESG, and CSR. So we introduce that what is sustainability. Oh, there are several definitions available of sustainability. And it has been defined that what ESG and CSR, I'm not going to redefine everything. But what I like this line very much. One line, meeting the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own need. In Hindi, you can say Geo or Gino the type. It means when you are actually doing, you have to also think that what I am doing, and that brings some sort of responsibility, that responsible consumption. And I was surprised. I was in New York last year in December, and I was staying in the hotel nearby. So what happened? I bought my plate and I took breakfast. I want to refill it, but somebody told me who was traveling along with me, he told, don't bring that plate again there. It is not allowed. You have to keep that plate now. They will clean this plate. You have to take new plate. And if somebody, there are some person, those who don't buy, don't take everything in one go. It means for that time you have to invest 5 or 6 plate. This is what sustainability. This is what responsible consumption. So this is one example. There are several examples where, that's why I told you that when you go, Rahul Sankirtan, he said, Athato Ghumakkadi Jigyasu. The person, his name was Kedarnath Pandey. His actual name was Kedarnath Pandey. He became Rahul Sankirtan. So Rahul Sankirtan says in literature, if you really want to understand the things, there is a two way: read and travel. Read and travel. You'll understand that what type of cultural heritage. So once you travel, you will understand that yes, we are not only talking about the ESG, we are not only talking about the CSR, we are not only talking about the sustainability. Sustainability is somewhere in our veins. I don't know about you, but in our time, we used to wear a shirt, My brother says, Bhaiya, it's nice. He also wore that, and when it is being retired, that was used for dusting. We don't believe in the use and throw technology. If you remember, many of us use what? Refill. Pen and refill. The concept of use and throw, it is being bought up from outside. And that is not only limited to now physical thing, that has been now absorbed in our behavioral thing, use and throw. That is not sustainability. So it is not an external sustainability, it is a behavioral sustainability I'm talking about. So people talk about three bottom line of sustainability. It's a three: people, planet, profit. And this should not be considered or seen in isolation. Profit without planet and people with a main purpose, it has no meaning. And that's why we believe in the Shubh Labh. And that's why we go sustainability in such a way that, look, it is a comparison. It is, this is, although I've written 3 P's, but the fourth one is in the center. The purpose. The ultimate purpose is to integrate the people, the planet, and then somewhere profit. That will automatically come. That will automatically come if it has been taken care generously. So supporting people by maintaining the biodiversity, natural resources, then planet, and then profit in not isolation. Further, when we say this is the broad sustainability, I'll say the CSR. When you say CSR, look again, look the similarity between the sustainability, CSR and ESG, which we would like to go for that. The environmental responsibility. When I say environmental responsibility, it has deep connection along with what? Sustainability. It means it is not different from there. Ethical responsibility. Economic responsibility. The moment you are going to become, the organizations are going to become economically responsible, definitely it is resulting to a profit. And that profit is not just purely profit. It is profit which is actually coming from auspicious profit, Shubha profit. And then philanthropic initiatives and activities involved. It is not just merely earning, it is also giving to the society what you have earned, what you have learned. If at the end of the day you are not able to give back to the society, indirectly it is actually talking about our Vedic philosophy, which doesn't say only use, absorb and keep along with you. It say give. It say whatever you have, spread it over. That's why it is being said somewhere in the Vedas. The lines are very interesting that Vidya vivadaya dhanam madaya shaktim paresham parapidanaya kalasya sadho viparitametat jnanaya danaya cha rakshanaya. What does it mean? It means the Vidya, the knowledge, is being used for unnecessary argument. I'm sure that you have seen now in these days what is being happen. Vidya vivadaya dhanam madaya. If you have money, mad means pride, unnecessary pride, take unnecessary pride. Vidya vivadaya dhanam madaya shaktim paresham parapidanaya. That is obvious. These are the properties of the person or the system or the organization, those who are having actually ill thought or evil nature. Khalasya, khal. Khalasya sadhu viparit meter. In comparison to this, these 3 things being used by a responsible citizen, a sane type of person, or a person who is actually responsible for the society and the system, he used this system, these 3 in a different way. How he'll use? With jnanaya, danaya, cha rakshanaya. He will use to enlighten the people. Danaya, he'll do the philanthropy. Look, this is philanthropy activity. Jnanaya, danaya, cha rakshana. So whatever the CSR broad building blocks are there, whatever the ESG sustainability broad building blocks are there, they are not coming from somewhere outside. This is our system and values, which has been reshaped in a different way. Just it has been painted in a different colors, and that's why we are going for that. I'll further talk on ESG. I'll not take a lot of time. Muskan, do let me know. You can tell me that, sir, it has. Huh? So, we all are aware that three building blocks of the E, the S, and the G. The E is, again, how a company take action to preserve the environment. S is how a company manages its relationship with the employees and stakeholder. And G is how a company handles its leadership policies and structure. Correct me if I am wrong, sir. These 500 Fortune companies, they are supposed to now produce their ESG reports. And this ESG report which they are producing it out, what specific guideline they are following? There are BRSR, there are GIS, and everything whatever is being done, 148 parameters are there, out of 90 is mandatory and rest are 98 mandatory, rest are optional. Interesting, if you review it, whether ESG measures or the reporting protocols which has been prepared, whether it actually involve indigenous system, BRSR only, Thomson router, all outside India, European context. Now tell me, the societal structure which is there and which is in India, is it same? Very good. Then why we are using their measuring structures? Why we are not thinking to create our own? Here academia comes. That's why I'm telling you, the role of academics is not just go in the class and talk with the student. Try to find out the loopholes and the gap which is there inside the system and fill that gap by holding hand along with the practitioners. That is the real responsibility of academia. Otherwise, there is no meaning of having academia or system or university. So what happened, I'm telling you that, and again, whether the social structure or society related responsibility, will it be same for the service industry and the manufacturing industry? No, not at all. It is going to be different. So can't you, young guys, those who are, can't you do a research? You can provide that I am going to design a ESG protocol or measuring framework which is going to be indigenous, and I am going to make a system there in that what is going to be for service sector, what is going for the manufacturing, what is going for other. And let our system, let our government, our policymaker use that, because that is indigenous. Still we are closing eyes, and whatever is coming from the outside world, we are thinking it is good. It is not. It is not, absolutely not. I remember way back when Akhilji was working, Akhil Malhotra, he was working on gas pricing way back in 2010-11. He says gas pricing now it has been, so it should be mature. Mature means when your demand and supply, so your pricing is being decided how the demand market fluctuated. And when we review the entire literature, you will surprise, there is a committee, Rangarajan committee, gas pricing formula, and we are surprised that whatever formula we were proposed or using, exactly same which was in Europe. Whether our system, our dynamics is same as European, so we should avoid this to absorb and take as it is whatever coming from outside. We assume that whatever is coming from not in India, from outside, from the white skin, it is good. It reflects that 1,000 year which we have spent. It reflects that. Don't get bogged down there. We are the person, we have built them. We have that intellect power, so we can utilize it. And that's why one of my scholars, she is working on, she had designed her company on the same. Now she has prepared entire ESG protocol and now she launched her company. Now she is going to give same. My point is, when you do academia, the role of academia is not just only teach you. It should be enlighten you so that you can actually contribute something to the society. I know that Muskan is looking at me. Let me, Muskan.
Sir, can we wind up in next few minutes?
Yes. So I'm skipping this part. I'm going to give it to her. I try to find out the differences, how these things are different, how the implementation process are different, how their reporting structures are different, what are the standard reports which are being available there. There are further few points, how the key differences which we can highlight between the CSR and ESG from the focus point of view, from the compliance point of view, from the format point of view, from output point of view, from the implementation point of view. Because until unless we will not able to understand that how these things are different, then we will also try to find out how they are similar and what are the things need to be done further. Further, I try to keep these all three things all together, ESG, CSR and sustainability, and try to understand that how they are interconnected and where there are the gaps. I'll skip these all things. Look, I find this one nice, that how your ESG fit into the sustainability. And then CSR. It actually cover 12, 13, 6, 7, 16, 8, 5, 16, 9, all out of those 17 goals, it covers majority of them. And you're surprised to know that when you take CSR inside this, you can find out further the CSR, it has its connection. It means, look, there are framework which is available on GRI or SB or ISSB or BRSR or Thomson routers, whatever it is. They are the format, they are the reporting frameworks, but there's a dire need to work on those reporting framework and integrate CSR somewhere inside, because the ESG and CSR, the S component is common, but it is not just S component. It has a broader aspect. It also has some more similarity. So there's a dire need to create a reporting framework where we can make all of them together, and that can be an indigenous system. I'll say thank you, because I find when first session is given to an academician, he don't want to leave. He considers that everyone is a student. Now let's start teaching. Sorry, I have taken probably more time, whatever it being a lot. Thank you very much.
Sir, you don't have to feel sorry. I think you enlightened everyone here. It's a very comprehensive presentation. We should have planned it in a way to have given to more. I'm sorry for this, but thank you very much for a very insightful. I mean, you set the context and you also made the job of all of us much easier, I think, because and now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard Dr. Pandey. It's an academic address. We set the foundations. Unless you have a good background and a foundation, is difficult. Now we will hear two special addresses by the two leading public sector companies, and as per the agenda, now may I request Mr. Rajkumar Dubey to address us. I think he just asked me how much time, sir. I'm not trying to restrict you, but please do speak, and we expect maybe 10 to 15 minutes would be reasonable, 12 to 15 minutes, but I leave it to you. I have no issues on this. So, Praveen, we will get back to you, because we were supposed to do the context setting, but since context setting has already been done, I will request to come a little bit later after we finish Dubey as well as Ayush. Is it okay with you?
That's completely fine.
Thank you.
As respected dignitaries on the dais, and the people who have been connected to various aspects of CSR, sustainability, and ESG. As rightly said, Mr. Dwarakanath had already set a context in his own simple way, and lots of base has been laid by Mr. Pandey, and that reduces our job. And he gave me 15 minutes. I think I don't have much to talk for 15 minutes. I would maybe take 7 or 8 minutes and tell you something. I as a part of a theory, I have very little background, but when I was listening to Mr. Pandey, I said lots of things we understand very intuitively when we do, this our CSR activities. And like one very intuitive question, I had in one of our sessions like this. So one of the, I think there was a participant or an audience, he raised this question. He said, why companies like you, talking about, CSR funds and all, whereas, the purpose with which a PSU was built was to do CSR, That is what he said. And then I realized that the biggest, I think, CSR initiative ever taken in this country about, it's an initiative which can be called as a CSR initiative for giving LPG connections to those people who would have never aspired to get it, and giving more than 10.2 crore connections all over the, and that amount spent was somewhere around 1 lakh crore or something. That is and the entire organization has gone into this. Not that, we got some NGOs to do our job or some, and hired some people or donated some money here and there. It is the entire organization getting into the process, of delivering free LPG. And when you link up with the sustainability, think of how many millions of trees have been saved because of this one big initiative. And that's where I think sustainability, where it comes very naturally. If you do the right things, it follows. And now one of the biggest initiatives are taking the PSUs. I think mostly the PSUs are taking, especially the oil marketing companies on Satat. It is about building your CBG plants from different kinds of waste, from municipal waste and all, your bagas and all this sugarcane waste and all these places. And the cyclic kind of an economy which we talked about, naturally it comes up within these initiatives. And these are all organizational level initiatives, and we don't call them CSR. For me, it's one of the biggest CSR initiative without saying it is CSR. So I was very intrigued with a simple question raised by an audience, which we never thought. We were doing all those things, we never thought about it. Now coming down to some of my views on how to do these things, when we talk of some big companies or a network of companies, how to do it at scale. That is the issue. You can do some things here, some things there, you throw out some things in the air and some things will happen, But there is one thing called an impact when people say it's impact. And why is impact necessary for sustainability? Now this is another intuitive connection. कभी हमने हमको पूछा नहीं, why impact and sustainability? Whenever we take an initiative and see that an impact is visible in the society, people go and do it more and more and more. And that's when the whole initiative becomes sustainable. It's like an example of, we had this seed bombing. To have idea was to plant around 8 to 10 lakh trees, at one shot, and with seed bombing, and especially during this monsoon times. Now imagine 30 public sectors coming together, and each one looking at 1 million trees, and in 1 year you get 30 million trees, and that's like a forest coming up, and that's visible. Otherwise, I do some initiative somewhere in the hill, and that another guy does it somewhere. And the next public sector does it in the next year, And over the period of 10 years, everybody must have spent, but then the impact is not visible. And therefore, seed bombing may not be seen as a great initiative. Okay? And that's when impact is important. And if we had 30 million trees every year just by 30 organizations, forget about thousands of organizations we have, just on this. And therefore, with scaling comes focus. You see, where do you focus? And I think in our management thing, it is very clear, You want to have an impact, you focus. Otherwise, there's no point, in having a distributed kind of an attention. You pay attention for some things, those things will happen. And that creates impact, and therefore the sustainability follows. We have another big example is this, the distributed attention is the solar lights, When we keep giving, I think over the last 5 to 6 years, organizations must have given more than, I think, 1,500 to 2,000 crores on solar lights. And how many are functioning? I mean, it's for you to judge. The second would be the companies getting into things where they have a decent core competence. You see? And if we focus on those areas, again it becomes sustainable. Like, say for example, we are, as a petroleum company, we have certain skills, right? And the country needs today, the biggest issue is employment, the biggest issue. I think it's not there's no other big issue today compared to this employment part, And then we are competent in skilling. So why wouldn't you do that? Where I am competent, where the company is competent, and then you wouldn't bother about, assessment and other things. It's made inbuilt. If I do a skill, development thing within the company for the people outside and create an ecosystem, it will benefit the company also, as well as it will benefit the people around, the society. Plus, the impact is huge, and it is inbuilt. I did not hire an agency to create, to study the impact and, ask them to do some things which is suitable to me. And the result of all the skill development institutes, which I think all of our, many of our oil marketing, gas marketing companies have done, it's just unimaginable. I think just in Kochi we have 96% employment rate of this skill development institute. It like rivals those IIMs and IITs. It's something like that. So my second part is, if we can do things where we are competent and there's a competency there, sustainability will come. Because you see the impact, 96%, and you start getting a lot of feelers from the society, people getting employment in that area, which they could never think of. And therefore, it will sustain again. It is self-sustaining now, because the pressure is so much on the company. Then, and to create more, one more idea we have is to embed CSR in a business. This is the third idea I have. If you can create certain places where you do some things where the society benefits and it also benefits your business, I think that is a win-win situation. Okay, without calling it a pure CSR, this would in fact have much bigger effect on the society. And to give an example, we had started this Silent Voices, something called Silent Voices, and we had hired people who are impaired speech and hearing, and to get into this petrol pump as attendants and supervisors. And I mean, just see the kind of a win-win situation here, where you generate employment for those marginalized sections, people with special abilities, and then it's good for business also, you see. And that's what I call sustainable, Yeah? So we are not doing charity, it's like we are helping each other. It's something like that. And embedding some things in a business. And the last one I would say, before I stop my address, is investing in the startups, innovation. So I am a guy who would put in a lot of money in this innovation and putting in startups, and just for a simple reason, is the kind of multiplier effect it has, you know. And one example was we had invested some this manual scavenging system cohort. I mean, removing a manual scavenging system. So invested in an equipment called Bandicoot, which is called, you know, and the investment was not much. It was done at one of the IITs, and we developed this. The guys developed that Bandicoot system, which eliminates manual scavenging and gives pride to the guy who's now using machines, you know, to do the scavenging part. And today, more than I think 300 bandicoots are all over the country, and now the government has realized this. I think the whole thing will get into lakhs, this kind of equipment, you know. And this is the kind of multiplier effect it has when we invest in those startups which deal into these social innovations, you know. So this is what I will have to contribute in this forum. Thank you for giving me patient listening, and and thank you everybody.
So, thank you very much, sir, for a very insightful talk, very sharp with illustrations and coming from a practicing manager. Thank you very much for your introductions. Now, may I request Shri Ayush Gupta ji to give his talk.
Very good morning to all of you. Distinguished panelists on the dais. When I entered this morning to the venue, it was a pleasant surprise for me to see Dwarakanath ji, who has been a veteran in the industry and a mentor to many of us within the HR and CSR space. Pleasant surprise was also to see Mr. Dubey. I was not expecting him there. And he is not just a colleague from a fellow industry, but also a very good friend, and that is how I introduced him to others. And the most surprising was to see Mr. Pandey, who has been a long back guide to me for my doctoral studies, which I am still aspiring to complete, but had been associated with him for quite long and received his guidance on many fronts. So many a times when you enter or when you start a day, you start with unexpected things, and that is where when we talk about moving from compliance to sustainability, and we heard Pandey ji, who nicely explained it, not just on an academic front, but using theory and concept and scriptures. He tried to explain beautifully how the difference between compliance and sustainability, and it's not that's something new. It has been within us for long. And Mr. Dubey nicely shared very few and very good practical examples of how we do it in our day-to-day basis. Not for compliance, but purely as our day-to-day working as part of our lives or as part of our organizational goals. The business we are doing itself is something which brings sustainability and benefits and impact to the society without realizing it to be part of relating it to either concept of sustainability or to per se compliance of ESG or PRSR or something. So if we have to I take few things from both the earlier speakers and try to say what is compliance and what is sustainability. And if I take it from the concept of Shubh Labh shared by Pandey ji. So compliance is not Shubh Labh, it is Shuddha Labh, the profit, net profit we talk of as an organization, that if the target is that our profit or turnover has to be 1 lakh crore or 50,000 crore is the net profit we talk of, and it's pure compliance. How do we achieve it? Day in and day out we'll have plans, targets, execution plans focusing on the net profit, or how can we maximize profits, maybe compromising on certain parts of what the impact is it is creating on the society, or how I am harnessing nature to consume the resources. But whereas, as rightly shared by Pandey, sustainability is about Shubh Labh, taking care of that what are the means by which that profit is being earned, and how that profit is again being plugged back to the society for the good of the society. It's not just how I am earning it, but how that profit is being used for the good of the society, not just for my own good or not just for the good of the organization, but for the good of the society is something which is, I'll say, sustainability. Compliance is all about following the rules. It limits you. When you say compliance, it limits you what you do. Compliance is when the CSR Act says 2% of the profits. It says minimum 2%, but the moment that minimum 2% comes, the organizations tend to limit it to 2%. They would not like to go it beyond 2%. When you go to the board, they will say, why beyond 2%? Why not? You are mandated to do 2% only minimum. Why you want to spend 3% or 4%? The compliance says you can offset it in next 3 years. So the board will say, if you have spent more in a year, please offset it in the very next year. Whereas sustainability will mean that it is limitless. It has no limits. It has to be your mindset that if you want to spend more, you can spend whatever you want. Whatever you feel that it is your responsibility, you want to do an impact, create an impact in the society, it should not limit you by any budget or financial figure or percentage of profits that is to be spent. So that is boundless, limitless, which comes back to you is what is, I'll say, sustainability. It is also, when we talk of compliance and sustainability, compliance, again, a set of rules, boundaries that you create around yourself or within the organization or as an individual. Since our birth, our mindset or we are being taught to work in a compliance mode. Whether it was attending school, whether it is following the rules at the home, within the society, we are somehow tuned to a compliance structure and we work well within that. The idea is because unless the compliance or rules are there, we tend to deviate and the society at large may not follow it. So compliance many a times is good. It is required to bring uniformity, to bring that everyone is doing what is required to be done. But when it's sustainability, it's how do we bring the change in the mindset or behavior of the people or the organizations we work with. So sustainability is more of creating that shift in the mindset, and possibly it starts with compliance, that okay, you start doing the minimum thing, slowly you get into it, and then after you have achieved a maturity stage, you will start making it sustainable and your mindset will shift. And possibly when we study and theoretically we say Maslow's need of hierarchy, because first you have to fulfill your basic needs and reach up to that level of spiritual level when you make it sustainable. So compliance is at the base level where we are talking of the minimum thing of basic security, physical, psychological needs of the organization or the society is what compliance is. And whereas sustainability is the highest level of maturity or achieving that stage of spirituality, that we come to spiritual needs where you start giving back to the society. You don't start earning for yourself. You are not looking at the profits or the salary or the earnings you are getting, but you are looking more of how can I give back, how can I contribute back to the society is what is sustainability is. And it can have different contexts. It can be seen from the point of view of an individual as how do I see that in my day-to-day life, in my career, in my lifetime, how I am giving back to the society. I had a good education, I got a good job, I am earning well. At what time I start looking back that it's time that I start giving back to the society? At what stage or age I want to start thinking about it? And quite often just look back, think back within your own lives, to what extent, at what location or what point of stage in your life you are. I believe it's never too early or never too late to start giving back to the society. In whatever small way you want to do it, there are hundreds of ways to do it. You all must be doing it, but then how can you make it more sustainable on a regular basis that gets into your behavior or mindset that I have to give back. It's not about just increase in my increments or promotions or salary, but then I have also the responsibility of giving it back to the society. At an organizational level, I think more has been said and it could not have been explained better the way Mr. Raj has explained. Purely at an organizational level, the business is not just about earning profits. The way every activity business does brings sustainability to whether it's a private sector organization or a public sector organization, whether it's service sector or manufacturing sector. My belief is that every activity a business is doing, if they are doing it with pure intent, it is bringing sustainability to the society. Every new discovery, every new product or service being launched, which eases the life of people or brings new products and services to people, has an element of sustainability which is there. In terms of, again, one thing which is we can look off from compliance and sustainability point of view is, again, when we have to compliance, we say the compliance says 2% of net profit last 3 years you have to spend. I can very well do in one go. If it is 100 crores, I transfer it to PM CARES fund. Compliance is done. What is sustainability? If I have to spend 100 crores, what projects I to undertake? I can take 10 projects, 100 projects. How do I spend that 100 crores so that it creates a lasting impact on the society? It remains, goes forward and remains there in the society is what is sustainable. Otherwise, from compliance, it takes 1 minute for the compliance to be done. So that is what the beauty of how do we undertake CSR projects, what CSR projects we do can really define in terms of the sustainability of those projects. And in the end, I'll just like to stop here and end my address with one thing in terms of what I believe sustainability is when we try to look at CSR projects or any other activity that we would like to undertake either as an individual or as an organization or as part of the society is sustainability is something which possibly somebody said you can measure or create the impact or measure that impact, but at a conceptual level or a very basic level, sustainability is when you are doing some good, whatever act you are doing, some good act under your mindset, your whatever you feel you are doing good. When it comes back to you, that is the impact you create. That is the impact or that is the point where you make it sustainable. That you spend 100 rupees, you get out of that say 110. Again, you are motivated to spend 10% more, and then it becomes a chain reaction that it keeps coming back to you. It motivates you to do further good. And if that chain stops, that if you do good and it's not coming back to you, that motivation level, whether it's an individual or organization or society, that motivation will die down and the sustainability of that project or the activity is not going to be there. And for that, I'll just share one example of one of the CSR projects which I shared last time also, and I don't leave any forum without telling it, is the GAIL Utkarsh project we do, where we provide coaching to the under-reserved people of the society in terms of their coaching for NEET and JEE examination. We have been doing it for last 15 years, and every year the results are in terms of 95 to 100% people, students studying there getting qualified for NEET and JEE exams on a continuous basis. It's not a 1 year result. Every year that is being done. One may say that 100% result, qualifying result is an impact we are able to create. But that is not the impact, that is not the sustainability for me. The sustainability or the goodness for which it is there, which we are able to realize it now after 13 to 14 years, that the students who studied at those centers, they got admission to IITs and NITs, and now they are joining back in GAIL as employees of GAIL. That is the sustainability effect we are creating with that initiative, and that really brings the pride in us that we have done something good and we are able to create a real impact. So thank you very much for the patient listening. Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your pearls of wisdom. And you meant what sustainability is. I liked it when it said a shift in the mindset, boundaryless and limitless. Sri Rajkumar Dubey ji has got some other commitments, so he wants to be excused now. Yes, thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Where is Mohit, sir? I don't see Mohit. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have pleasant duty to request Sri Prabhakar Kumar ji to give his keynote address.
After hearing from so many intellectuals and the industry leaders, I'm left with very few things to say, but still, as I have been asked to give a keynote address, I will say something, and I will try to enrich whatever way it would be possible. So first of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for giving me the honor of being here today at the ESG Conclave. It is truly heartening to hear the views of my fellow speakers and their commitments to build a more responsible, inclusive, sustainable future for India. I also extend my appreciations to the organizer for convening such a critical conversation at a critical time when the world is grappling with the triple planetary crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. The things has reached to such a level that every day we all are struggling with pollutions at home, outside, and everywhere. The term sustainability or sustainable development was first brought into the picture in Brundtland report in 1987, where they were talking about sustainable development. When everyone was seeing the crisis of environment, then they brought the concept of sustainable development. Exactly, it is the resources which whatever we are using is the resources we are using. The one which we were using for the last 40, 50 years will not be there in next 40, 50 years. Our future generation won't be availing those good things from the natures which we have already availed or our forefathers had already availed. So, sustainability in corporate terms or in governance is the good act which we has done in the past has to be done in present also and should be retained in futures. So the action which were good, the Pandey sir has already told us that what were the actions which we were doing in the Vedas period and then medieval period and now in present, that has to be continued in present scenario and should be continued in future also. We are talking about so many things about corporate social responsibility. which is a voluntary act earlier for Fortune 500 companies, which was self-motivating act. But today it has been linked to brand reputation, risk management, community outreach, and alignment with sustainable development goals. So every corporate has to be linked themselves with these goals. In India, already government has to mandate it for certain percentage for CSR under Companies Act. And we were not having a well-defined plans. The companies were not having well-defined plans. And these are more or less ad hoc type of things, whims, based on the whims of the senior leadership. But still, we have done a lot in CSR by our PSUs, by ITC each of all, SDFC Parivartan, Mahindra and Mahindra Group is doing with their program Nani Kali. Infosys again training the students through their Springboard program. Wipro is financing a scholarship program through Santur. Tata, already we know, everywhere we can see when somewhere in education, school, somewhere in health, somewhere in environment. GAIL just said about Utkarsh project, where they are being prepared for NIT, G and others. So we have already done, but still there is lot to do. That's why some changes is something, some reports are being done mandatory to be complied with all the corporates. When we talk about ESG, so much already we have heard. So it's now a key word for everyone. First brought into 2004 by United Nations through socially responsible investment programs. Again in 2015, when they delivered principles for responsible investment, that was the more systemized thing. And now European Union has adapted it more and more through their legislation. Parliamentary European Union Parliament has legislated acts and prescribed for some of the reports mandatory, which not only European Union company, but in future non-European Union company has to be complied. And they have also set timetables for compliance also. They have taken up till the 2030, 2050. But everywhere they have a fixed target, they have brought it. And in that whole scenario, they have more emphasis on environment. That's why they have given taxonomy of 6 deliverables, mainly climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, transition to circular economy. Already said so much about circular economy. Having minimum waste, whatever we are taking, we are giving it back to the maximum to the environment. Pollution prevention and control, sustainable use and protection of water and marine resources, protection and restoration of biodiversity and ecosystem. All these they have fixed. The parameters they have fixed as per their European Union standard. But in India, these goals has to be followed. These goals has to be achieved. But reporting should have been more customized to our needs, our goals, and our society goals. Present day, why ESG we are talking as a keywords, because every company's performance are being assessed on the platform of ESG. Presently, 3-4 companies are rating also, giving ratings also. Thomson Reuters, MSCI, Bloomberg's, all are assessing our corporate performance on these scales only. And once they give the reports and grading, the investment, whatever we need, whatever the technology transfer we need, all assessed on those grading, those reports only. So now every corporate sector in India also has to comply with those guidelines, those reports, so that more and more investment they can attract, the technology they can attract, they can compete with the world and deliver to goods to Indian society. ESG and corporate social responsibility are not very cohesive thing. There are challenges also which are coming. Some real politics are also going on, as recently non-tariff barriers are being created. In recent time, European companies and their approach to green steel, which is all laudable in principle, will handicap the developing countries that lacks access to the expensive green technology. Once they are not going to conform to this green technology, no export from India could be there to the European Union or the Western market, anyone. Presently, organizations are treating these as a compliance checklist only, exercises for reporting rather than strategic transformation. Time have come when from compliance we should move to value creation, and the value creation should be our goal. The real opportunity doesn't lie in tick box compliance, but embedding sustainability into the DNA of corporate strategy and culture. We have to shift from doing less harm to creating more values, from seeing sustainability as an obligation to embracing it as an opportunity. Certainly, the corporates will benefit from this also, because this will create a more sustainable product which will attract more customers. A stronger community relation will build trust. Lower energy and water use will reduce their cost. Social credibility will attract talents. ESG alignment can investment in future. In India, we have also set up goals for net zero emission for 2070. We have rapidly leapfrogged into the solar energy sector, where 12 years before we were just producing 10 megawatt. Now we are producing 60 gigawatt. That is 6,000-fold increase. That is remarkable, and everyone recognizes this. We are global leader in public digital infrastructure such as Aadhaar, UPI, DigiLocker. We have already seen during COVID period our vaccine program, CoWIN platform showed the power of digital public goods, how they are so helpful to the society. Presently, the emerging technology like blockchains are being used for keeping the land records, farm insurance, health records, supply chain management. We hope that as India leapfrogged from first generation computer to mobile first application, we will have the opportunity to leapfrog into a green networked economy. When we have to leapfrog to green network economy, the role of organizations comes. Because every organization is positioned into a unique manner. In case of environment, we should look beyond carbon to biodiversity, to water management, recycling, and circular economy. Similarly, in social case, society, we have to engage with communities through skill development, as we have already heard so many things for skill development, employment, and inclusive value chain. The skill development, through programs through which we are developing, the companies are gaining themselves because they are getting employed in their own companies. Similarly, in governance, we have to bring more transparency, accountability, and vision into corporate structures with resources dedicated to sustainability. Sustainability should be the goal. As a small step, we have started here also, we have seen that at this table we have replaced plastic bottle to glass bottle. In our offices also, we have started using petrol diesel vehicle to electric vehicles. Though when we have started, some of the staffs may not be using the same thing. They were asking for something else, but we have to persist. Just we have to push them for a better planetary goals. We have started and we have continued. These examples show that even incremental process change can create a transformative impact. Presently, we have to integrate CSR and ESG as a corporate strategy, which is, as on date, inevitable. But the questions are we ready? Do we have a clear decarbonization roadmap? Are we integrating climate risk into project planning? Are we investing in green technology and circular economy models? These resource-intensive initiative companies must make them financially viable while keeping products and services affordable for consumers to remain competitive. Indian companies may need to tap into global financial system, which is rapidly shifting towards ESG-aligned investment. Everywhere, whenever we are going for investment, we have to first show them the parameter we are qualifying in ESG report. The way forward on this front is to build internal ESG capacity, align project pipelines with green taxonomy principles, and develop measurable, auditable impact matrices. Then report these performance on global ESG exchanges and platforms to be more visible in the global era. In short, as we talked, CSR provides why it should be. ESG provides how. But together, we have to move towards long-term strategic sustainability. CSR drives community impact and stakeholder trust. ESG drives accountability, transparency, and resilience. If we align both of them, then we can deliver sustainable value for people, planet, and profit. To maximize this social impact, there are two pillars. First, collaboration among government, collaboration among businesses, and civil society. And second, we have to get the technology as the enabler of scale, transparency, and inclusion. Ultimately, the journey from compliance to sustainability is not about regulation or frameworks. It's about leadership and mindset in which we are working. As true sustainability cannot be achieved in silos, it demands an integrated approach where CSR brings heart, ESG brings rigor. When these forces are aligned, organizations not only meet regulatory and investor expectation, they become genuine stewards of sustainable future and develops a culture of responsibility that must permeate every decision from boardroom to factory floors. With all these, I think we have summarized all the aspects. I wish you all the very best for a fruitful deliberation on this noble cause. Let's share best practices, learn from each other, and together contribute towards our common planetary goal and save this planet. That would be the last word I can say. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Many thanks to you, sir, for giving a very well articulated address. I like a couple of things. CSR is why, ESG is how, and it makes a lot of sense. I think ladies and gentlemen, we've heard academic view, we heard about two public sector undertakings view, and now we heard the government's view, and now we will request what is the private sector is doing, and in this context, I would request Mr. Praveen Karanji to give his views on on these issues. So can we make it 5 to 7?
Your wish, sir.
No, I think I'm conscious about the time.
Not a problem. सबसे पहले विलंब के लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ. I'll keep it very short, and My job in the morning was to keep the context for the discussion, but the context has already been set up. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to summarize that what has happened, what is happening, and what should happen. So this is how I have changed my content to be spoken for the day. I'll look at the time as well. Donald Trump is coming up with a new tariff imposition to India. We heard Nirmala ji is going to bring in some relaxation in GST, which is a famous tax. And 2013 की बात है जब CSR एक्ट का इंट्रोडक्शन हुआ था और उस समय इसको एक टैक्स की तरह परसीव किया गया था. कॉरपोरेशंस ने सोचा कि एक और टैक्स आ गया है. I'm just taking you to the past of it, and compliances were the core, and many of my co-panelists have spoken about it. All of a sudden, sustainability and ESG has become the new normal. The entire development sector is talking about it, and many of my seniors are sitting here, my colleagues from the sector, and they all have started talking about it and why this has happened. We recently have seen a pandemic. उत्तराखंड में क्या हुआ ये हम सभी लोगों को पता है. There's a cloud burst, and there are many other natural calamities happening in many parts of the country. You look at the temperature rise 1.5 degree, and everybody is talking about it. Carbon emission is at its highest level today. Heat waves have tripled. 27 states in India are disaster prone. Things are changing. आप पेड़ के पत्तों का रंग आप गौर से देखिए. मुझे याद है कि जिस पत्ते का रंग हरा होता था आज वो हरा वैसा हरा नहीं दिखता, बदल गया है. There's a change in that. गौरैया तो मुझे दिखती ही नहीं है. I come from a tribal state, झारखंड, where आज भी हमारे यहाँ प्रथा है कि किसी का स्वागत करना है तो पलाश के फूल का उपयोग किया जाता है, गुलाब के फूल का उपयोग नहीं होता. So I come from that state, but the beauty of the greenery is gone. The world is full of uncertainty. And since it's uncertain, so we have to prepare. And since everybody is preparing, there are global preparations, MDGs, SDGs. 9 out of 17 goals in SDG. Somebody was talking, I think Pandey sir was talking, that most of the sustainable development goals supplement to sustainability. Planet. Look at the national supplementations. Panchamrit policy that was introduced by Prime Minister Modi 2025, and by 30 there are things to be achieved. One of it is been achieved also very recently. That was in news. CSR Act also came in 2013 in India, talking about Indian context. 1981 PPP. No, I'm not talking about public-private partnership. The triple bottom line. Right. So the people and the planet and the profit. Profit is the business, and this concept of triple bottom line by Freer Spracky that was introduced as a framework to be adopted for strategic intervention of corporations towards people and planet. और आप इन सारी चीज़ों को गौर से देखें तो ये जो फ्रेमवर्क है PPP का फ्रेमवर्क, यही ESG है, यही सस्टेनेबिलिटी है जिसके बारे में आज हम बात कर रहे हैं. भारत में CSR कानून जब आया था तो काफ़ी होड़ मची थी. I'll keep it very short, and pre-2000 era, to which I call the Garbhavastha of CSR. Things were voluntary, MDGs were the guidelines, and national voluntary guidelines used to be the reference point for doing CSR. Donations and philanthropies were happening by most of the proactive organization. 2013-15 changed. Balyavastha of CSR compliance came in place, committees started forming, policies were introduced, donation फिर भी हो रहा था, फोटोग्राफी काफ़ी हुई है उस वक्त. And I know many of you may not like this statement, what I'm saying here, but I felt that photography was the core in CSR, and that was also the era where many corporates explained that why didn't I spend in CSR? 16-18. सर किशोरावस्था में हमने देखा कि CSR को एक टूल की तरह यूज़ किया गया. It was a branding tool. Department was formed, CSR department. Earlier there was no CSR department in corporates, except those few very progressive, very proactive organizations. NGOs were brought, but they all, unfortunately, most of them, although they're referring to Schedule 7 of Section 135, but they remain restricted to stationary distribution. And they also became the blanket distribution CSR company, unfortunately. I don't know, Mohitji is going to call me again or not here, but let me tell you the facts which I have seen from my experience. 19 to 21, Yuvavastha. SDGs were taken a reference because that was introduced in 2015, and India also took it up. Niti Aayog, they started talking. If you look at the SDGs, and if you also look at the Schedule 7 of Section 135, you find the similarity of the acts which is needed to be delivered. ये सबसे कंट्रोवर्शियल पीरियड भी था क्योंकि CSR नहीं करने पे क्रिमिनल ऑफेंसेस को बताया गया था. निर्मला जी ने कहा था, बाद में हटा लिया गया. आई डोंट नो डॉक्टर भास्कर चैटर्जी सिटिंग हियर और नॉट, मुझे डांट भी लगाते मैं इस तरीके की बातें यहाँ कर रहा हूँ, मगर पीएम प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलीफ फंड में डोनेट कर देना पैसा यदि आपने खर्च नहीं किया है, दैट वाज आल्सो समथिंग दैट वी हैव सीन, एंड देयर वाज लॉट ऑफ कंट्रोवर्सी ऑन दिस पॉइंट कि भैया प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलीफ फंड को क्यों दें हम पैसे. Okay, that was also a point of debate. Impact assessment was mandated, where the entire sector was trying to understand what is impact. खून का लेवल बढ़ाना, हीमोग्लोबिन को बढ़ाना, तो उसको तो मेजर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन खून कितना जल रहा है उसको कैसे मेजर करेंगे. These understandings the entire sector was trying to develop, और अभी तक वो नहीं आ पाया है. मेरे दोस्त जो कि इस सेक्टर से बिलोंग करते हैं, they know it very well. It takes good 3, 5, 7, 10 years to bring out that impact, that formula of input to activity to output to outcome to impact. That's a series of it. Last one, 22 to at present. CSR has got innovations, collaborations, theory of development, SROI. These things are being done. Research, collaborations is happening that is bringing in a lot of value to our entire sector. Prodhavastha, it's graduating, it's getting better. तो जो ट्रांजिशन हो रहा है, आज का जो मुद्दा है, मैं उस मुद्दे पर आता हूँ. CSR जो कि फिलैंथ्रोपिक ओरिएंटेड था, वो बिजनेस सस्टेनेबिलिटी का एक टूल बन गया है. And I call it starting from sympathy to strategic CSR to EBITDA. It even supplements to the EBITDA of the organization. This is what I believe. CSR and ESG, they are complementary to each other. Sir, I'm going to take another 2.5 minutes. The internal CSR committees in the corporations today are also graduating to become sustainability committee. The governance structure is getting modified in many of the mid-size corporations. Bigger size, proactive corporations, they have a sustainability department. They had a CSR department. They were releasing integrated report. They were doing GRI reporting. And then all of the sudden, BRSR also came. So we are now reporting in XBRL format. Those were professionals from the sector. I can see Sangeeta ji is sitting here. So you know, it is being punched in XBRL format so that the comparative can be seen by SEBI and assessments can be made by the organization, third-party organizations, I would say, rankings could be given, scorings could be given. This is going to happen tomorrow. Wait for another 2-3 years max. With the present government, I do anticipate this is going to happen for sure. What is the need of the hour? What is to be done in the future? We have a mandated CSR policy, but do we have a sustainability policy in our organization? And I'm sure many of the CXOs are sitting here. So with this dialogue today, I would like to propose what else can be done. Like you have the CSR committee, please do form a sustainability committee in your organization, which should include CFT, cross-functional representatives from different departments. You get this and things will start happening. Once you'll do this, I'm sure you'll start looking at many of the diversified policies like diversity inclusion, human rights, equal opportunity, stakeholder management, and these all things will bring or start making things better. These are not going to be for the purpose of only transparency and reputation, but एक बार पॉलिसी बन जाती है तो चीज़ें भी बेहतर होने लगती है. Risk management is not limited only to the financial risk, climate risk, geographical risk, topographical risk. If you are operating in Uttarakhand, if you are operating in Maharashtra, SEZ, पानी खत्म हो रहा है. If your business require water, you have to do water harvesting. You have to recharge water, then only you can survive. That's a risk. Investors' perception. The investor will invest in you if you are doing ESG, if you are doing sustainability, if you are just not doing but you are also reporting about it. You are bringing a third party also to get it know. Also, I mean, it's a very good business today also. A lot of consultants are going to get an opportunity, and why not? Let it to be an opportunity for them because they are the experts. Time to join hands. NGOs working for planet, people, they need to collaborate. We are going to have these discussions today. You have an opportunity to become a preferred supplier, majorly if you belong to a B2B company. Green credit, carbon credit, that's going to be another business. And let me also tell you another 5 years down the line, the ESG performance of the organization is going to be linked with the senior executives' compensation also. This is also going to happen. So this is how things are changing. Probably I'll stop here and I leave it to all of you to think that while the world is quite uncertain, what is our responsibility as an individuals? What are our corporations' responsibility? How CSR has to graduate to become ESG, the S part of ESG, which talks about employees and also about this community. So how do we look at the community and the planet and try our level best to make things better for a better future, for a sustainable future? That is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Praveenji. Despite the time pressure, you try to cover every aspect. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Now, over to you, Naveenji.
Good morning to everybody. I have total number of 6 slides. 5 of them are data slides, right? So not take much time. Everybody is talking about ESG, ESG. This is what ESG is. I will send this presentation, don't copy. First is, who created this tamasha of ESG? Well, let's get one fact right. I hope you know the names of the company which I'm going to recite. And also, these are asset management companies. And I'll also talk about their turnovers. First, BlackRock, $12.5 trillion. Indian economy is $4.2 trillion. German economy, which is third largest, is $4.6 trillion. Number 2, Vanguard, $10.1 trillion. Fidelity, $6 trillion. State Street, $4.7 trillion. JP Morgan, $3.7 trillion, smaller than India. Crédit Agricole, which is a French company, $3.4 trillion. Goldman Sachs, 3.1. Total $44 trillion by these 7 companies. 69 to 70% of the investment in Fortune 500 companies is by these 7 companies. They will dictate. So ESG is their creation. In simple geopolitical language, this is Anglo-Saxon, which is European Union, and American tamasha. Right? As rightly said, my fellow panelist, that out of 140 so-called protocol systems, reporting formats, 95 mandatory, are an imposition of the so-called Anglo-Saxon world. Well. So this is one part of the picture. The second part of the picture is, as you are aware, very from the recent political term, that a term called Global South and BRICS nation says, hell with you. Right? So nobody's going to follow it. But these guys are mighty powerful. Right? So we will have to do one non-conflicting way called localize. And I must thank that India should take a lead. Now, in order to avoid controversy, I will take one element from social, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you go down, it's called contribution to the community in the social. In simple English, we've been calling it corporate social responsibility. Right. So let's talk about, in India, the CSR pride pointers. Information to all of you, go and check any data. India is only among the 4 nations, China, India, France, and South Africa, where CSR is mandatory. Rest is hypocritic talk. If you have done that, to kar do mandatory. Kyun nahi kiya? Second, India is the only nation in the world where CSR, social impact assessment, is mandatory. Go and search anywhere. And hence, there is none. I spent a Ph.D. 4 people's research to find out, is there a social impact assessment format? The answer is no. All the format which you will feel are generic nonsense. Okay. As you're aware, India has a Company Act, Section 135, 2% of the net profit of the company's turn is more than 1,000 crore net worth fund and is mandatory. So what is the state of India? This is our nation's pride pointer facts. India's CSR spending between 2014 to 2024, a decade, has been 1,53,000 crores. And India has implemented 51,966 projects. 84% of them are from the private sector. And if you look at the split among the sectors, education and skill has got 44%, healthcare 29%, environment 10%, rural development 7%, and others 10%. But there is a problem. 65% of so-called 59,966 projects have come only from 5 states. Maharashtra, 18% of the funds have gone, Gujarat 14%, Karnataka 13%, Tamil Nadu 11%, UP 9%. 5 states contribute 65%. Just to tell you, Northeast with 7 sisters get 1%. Now, let's go back next 10 years. 2025 to 2034. India will spend 7,24,000 crores in the next 10 years on CSR. Now we have a problem. The problems are 2. We do not have a Indian specific sector sector-specific social impact assessment methodology, ecosystem I would call it. Neither we have a system nor people to train, nor organization trained to impact and measure it. I will go up a slide and come back again. Another problem is, if India is going to already spend 1,53,000 and we're going to spend 7,24,000, how does world perceive us? So this is a data as late as 2024. This is a rank called how many countries people believe that their nation is doing very well in corporate social responsibility or work towards the community. Just look at India's ranking. The top is Indonesia at 74. Dhundo Bharat is on the right side, somewhere in the middle at 48. Itna kaam karne ke baad bhi we have a very poor perception. All right. So one of the areas we have to work is media, both in social media, both in mainstream media, but with a proper, measurable, visible social impact. Third, and the most important, we are a great nation which is mostly digital, and we have the AI, VR coming. I think this technology integration will take place in social impact assessment and social responsibility. Okay. Regional parity, I've already told about. 5 states are getting it, but I believe now with $20 trillion of oil in Andaman Nicobar and 10 million tons of rare earth in Rajasthan and gold in Siroha, which is about, I do not know what's the value, 200 tons or 300 tons of gold. I think these areas will attract environment and CSR. But the most important area where zero attention has been paid on CSR is malnutrition. It's a national emergency. Let's look at this. 35.5 children under 5 are stunted. 13.7% population is undernourished. 49% of women are anemic. And we want to be a superpower? First, get our basics right. Okay, challenges ahead. This is my last slide. We have to create a sector-wide social impact assessment framework and ecosystem with desired capacities and capability. This is a challenge as we invest in projects worth 7,24,000 crores. We need to integrate technology, which I talked about, digital, AR, VI, mobile technology in social assessment framework, real time. Third, as I spoke about, malnutrition projects are national emergency. We need to do something about it. And the fourth, which I spoke about, media, mainstream and social to highlight contribution to society as a remarkable achievement. And we need to create a visible, measurable, replicable framework as a lot of money at stake. 7,24,000 crores is a lot of money. And this is impact which we have done. So this is where one small element of ESG I have spoken about called contribution to community. There are many elements, a lot of work to be done. So I thought I'll take one and talk about it. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Navinji, for the excellent presentation and highlighting the key aspects, the challenges for the future as well. So, please. Thank you very much to everyone for your patient listening. Sorry we have just overspilled the time, but I'm sure that you'll enjoy the deliberations post-tea as well. Thank you.
Thank you to all our esteemed speakers for setting the tone for the day. I now invite Mr. Deepak Barara to felicitate our esteemed speakers. So you could come on stage. Okay. Mr. P.Dwarakanath, Mr. Praveen Karn, Mr. Praveen Karn, Mr. K.K. Pandey, Dr. K.K. Pandey. Mr. Ayush Gupta, Mr. Prabhakar Kumar, and Mr. Naveen Bhatia. Thank you, everyone. We will now take a quick tea break and reassemble in another 10-15 minutes. Thank you.